Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Chase with Jace. I am your host, Jace Lejeune, and we're going to recap what was a 23-7 LSU victory over Louisiana Tech. It was the first home opener of the season. A lot of people were really excited going into Tiger Stadium, coming off a big win against Clemson. It was a lot of juice around Tiger Stadium. 101,600 people in attendance, and the fans were excited. Everybody was excited to welcome in a 1-0 team. It's been tough over the last couple of years for Brian Kelly to enter your home opener and you're 0-1. Now it's flipped. You're 1-0. So it's a big thing to enter with a lot of positive momentum and a really exciting fan base. But the game was anything but exciting, though, as LSU once again gets a 23-7 win. We knew going in what it was. It was a it was a get right game as far as you're going to win. You're going to win, and the question is how effective is it going to be? What is it going to look like? Is it going to look like when LSU defeated Grambling a couple of years ago under Brian Kelly? Is it going to look like that when Jaden Daniels was throwing the football all over the yard and making plays? Or was it going to look like last year when LSU struggled against Clemson? I mean, not Clemson, against Nickel State. Is it going to look like that? So that is basically the question going in. What does that look like, basically, for LSU? And the question was, unfortunately, for a lot of fans last night, it was the latter. As it was not a pretty performance. It wasn't like anything like the 2019 LSU offense, 2023 LSU offense, that is for sure. Offense indeed struggled last night. I mean, only putting 23 points on the board, scoring 2 touchdowns. We're going to go into it, but I appreciate everybody that's tuning in. Montez Beard, thank you for tuning in. We have more people falling in as we're going live here for the Chase with Jace on our Sunday editions. On Wednesday, we will have a tape show that will be on our YouTube channel. That will also be on our Facebook page as well. And then on Sundays, the day after the game, we'll welcome in everybody. We'll do a live show and we'll recap a game. But we won't. The reason I want to do live shows on Sunday is I want the fans to be involved. I want y'all to be involved. I want y'all to ask questions. I want your comments. I want y'all to comment, chime in. I know a lot of people have a lot to say about the LSU game last night. So if you have any questions, if you have any comments about what you thought, what did you like about the game last night for LSU, what you like about the win, obviously what you did not like, but I want you to be involved. I want you to comment. So feel free to tune in. And I'm actually looking at the Facebook feed right now. So if you have any comments, feel free to chime in. We want y'all to get involved. But we're going to recap the game. So we're going to start off. And the first drive of the game for the LSU offense was going to be a telling of how this day was going to go. And the very first play, it was just really bad foreshadowing how this game was going to play and how this game was going to turn out. And you lose your starting center, Braylon Moore, after such a great game he had. He was the SEC offensive lineman of the week last week. He had such a great game last week, and he goes down pretty much almost immediately. He goes down. He's injured. He's out for the rest of the game. And we're going to get a stats. We'll talk about that, about those injuries LSU had last night. But obviously, you're without your starting center. And I can say this for sure, just seeing him in fall practice, he is your most impactful offensive lineman. He is your best offensive lineman. So to lose him, to lose that glue of the offensive line in the first play, that did set everything back. I know DJ Chester was your starting center last year. He has experience, but DJ is a bigger body, bigger guy than Braylon. Braylon's more the prototypical Jason Kelsey, smaller center, athletic. You want your center to be the smallest, most athletic offensive lineman on your team for all they have to do. But yeah, it struggled. I mean, we'll talk about the offensive line and their play as we're welcoming everybody in here on the chase with Jace. But yeah, I mean, first you're without your starting center, so that's really the first thing that happens, and then pretty much almost immediately after that, you give up. Well, I'm basically burying Brown's wide open. I mean, we have a good angle of it when you're covering game in Tiger Stadium from the press box. You have a really good angle at a lot of different things, and we saw Braylon Brown just Barian Brown. I'm sorry, Barian Brown, the Kentucky transfer, running wide open. I mean, he is wide open, and maybe the trajectory of the game last night changes if you hit that play because there weren't many times that Louisiana Tech was going to give you that one-on-one shot, and they gave you that one-on-one shot. Barian Brown right down the sidelines, and Garrett just missed the throw. And he makes these throws in his sleep. And we know about his ability to throw the deep ball, but he just missed. He underthrew the ball, underthrew the pass. It was just a miss by Garrett Nussmeier. And he usually doesn't miss those, but he did. And you can say that maybe threw him off. I mean, the rest of the game, we'll talk about the timing a little bit with the receivers. I know everybody's kind of tuning in. Good morning, Fritzy. Rika, good morning, Rika. Jabaric, Montez, Tracy, as people are chiming in. Thank you all for tuning in, and please share. Please like the stream. We're talking some LSU football. We'll spend a couple of minutes this morning to talk about the Tigers and recap that win 23-7. Like we said, we knew going in it was going to be a win for LSU. The question was how it was going to look, and it just wasn't the sharpest night for the LSU Tigers. But what was sharp was the LSU defense. They were phenomenal. The LSU defense played its heart out, and it shows you that the defensive performance from the Clemson game, it was not a fluke. They absolutely balled out. And Blake Baker, it's going to be hard to keep him because right now he's looking like he's one of the best defensive coordinators in the country, and he's got the pieces to play with. And when you get the pieces to play with, you're going to be really dangerous. And LSU has those pieces to play with, but LSU's defense they came to play. We'll talk about the touchdown they did give up in the football game, but defensively, they were on the field 10 times. They forced Louisiana Tech to punt the football 9 times. So that's not a bad percentage there when you're punting the football 9 out of your 10 possessions. I mean that's saying something. And a lot of credit has to go to LSU's defense. The running game was non-existent for Louisiana Tech. I think they ran for 53 yards in the football game total. I believe total yards of 58. So the total yards of offense, 154 total yards by Louisiana Tech. We have 58 rushing yards, averaging maybe 2 yards a carry. So, I mean, a couple first downs, I think 12 total first downs. So, yeah, they were dominant. The only touchdown they gave up was late in the football game. It almost felt like it was 23-0 based how the game was going to go. But they gave up a busted coverage. They gave up a busted coverage that went for a long touchdown, about I think 33 yards, and that was just a busted play. And you got to give a lot of credit to Louisiana Tech, though. I mean, everybody's going to talk about how LSU was not sharp last night and how LSU struggled, but you got to give a lot of credit to Louisiana Tech. You got to give a lot of credit to Sonny Cummey. This is a good Louisiana Tech defense. This Louisiana Tech defense shut out Southeastern just a week ago. They've had problems on offense, but their defense was good. Kobe Fields, you probably saw number 10 last night, run all over the place, run all over the football field. That's because Kobe Fields was a LSU. He played at LSU. He transferred to Louisiana Tech, and he was able to show off his ability. He was all over the place. When you're a former LSU Tiger and you have a chance to go back against your former team and show what you can do. He was able to showcase that last night. So John Curtis watching, so appreciate it, John. If y'all have any questions, we want y'all to be involved in the show. Make sure to comment. Give me your thoughts. I'll make sure to address those comments as well. So make sure to comment below. Get your questions in. Get your comments in. We'll be talking some LSU football until about 10:20. So if y'all have any questions, I want your thoughts about the game. So I want y'all to be involved with the show. Offensively, let's go into it as well. We talked about how nightmarish that first drive really was for LSU. I already talked about it with Brandon Moore going down. You underthrow what seemed like could have been a big play, could have been a touchdown. It seemed like you missed that play, and it just really set the the foundation of what it was going to be. It wasn't going to be the cleanest game offensively. LSU struggled to really get anything in the ground game. It was very reminiscent of what we saw a lot through fall camp. We saw LSU's offensive line struggling, mostly pass protection, but in run blocking as well. Now you're going up against this vaunted LSU defensive front that is really good. So, I mean, that is a tough assignment every time you got to do that in practice. But every now and then LSU would break off a long run with Caden Durham in fall camp. And LSU struggled for the most part running the football, but they did break off 2 long runs. And LSU, you got to give them credit. They want to commit to the ground game. This could be one of those games that they could have aired it out a lot more, but they want to commit to the ground game. They want to show that they can run the football. That's what they want to show. That's why they ran the football. I'm going to try to see how many attempts they ran the football. 34 times. They ran the football 34 times. Threw the football 41 times overall. They averaged, rushing. They had 128 yards rushing, averaging about 3.8 yards per carry. But that is pretty deceiving because you had 2 long runs. You had a 48-yard run from Xavier Thomas. You had a 43-yard run from the freshman Harlan Berry. You broke up 2 long runs, but besides that, you got stuff in the running game, and that is going to be a concern. LSU was able to address. That's why you're seeing Joe Sloan get creative, at least in the run game, because there has not been that push up front in the run game. That's been kind of a struggle like it was last year, but you have to be creative. That's why Xavier Thomas was your leading rusher. You're getting him the ball on the edges, get him to the outside. You got to get Harlan Berry to the outside. I know LSU's trying to prove that they can run the ball in between the tackles, but they struggled doing that last night. Caden Durham, he did score a touchdown on the ground. I'm trying to see what he finished with. But, yeah, I think he had like 29 yards rushing on 13 carries, so he struck nothing really going much for him on Saturday. I didn't really find that he was as explosive as he usually is, too. So that's really another thing as well that I didn't really notice or recognize. The wide receivers, a passing game. Let's just call it what it is, guys. It was an off game by Garrett Nussmeier. It was. You seen what Garrett can do. I mean, last year the offense was predicated on Garrett Nussmeier being able to throw the football and being able to throw it to his wide receivers, to Kyron Lacey, to Aaron Anderson, to Chris Hilton. That LSU leaned a lot last year when throwing the football. You know what Garrett Nussmeier can do. You know the capability of what he can do. But it's just one of those games. You have your off night, and you want to have your off night against a team like Louisiana Tech. You don't want to have your off night against Clemson. You don't want to have your off night against Florida next week. If you're going to have your D+, C- game, get out of your system and do it against Louisiana Tech, do it against Southeastern, because you can't afford that when you're going off against SEC competition. So my thoughts on Garrett, was he rusty? Yes, he was. Then maybe was the first interception that throw him off the rest of the way. It probably did. I thought that there were plays to be made. I asked Brian Kelly even after the press conference that there were more plays to be made. I asked Brian Kelly about that and the timing of the receivers and the quarterback and Garrett Nussmeier. And Brian Kelly said he thought the timing was good. It was just there were plays. There was a throw that was a little off here, and there should have been a catch there. There were times Aaron Anderson had a sure touchdown. He dropped it. Kyle Parker, I know it was kind of a tough play, but he was diving to make a catch, and it just kind of squirted out. It's tough. I mean, it's tough. I mean, those are plays you got to make. Now, were there plays that Garrett should have hit and should have made it easier on the wide receivers? Yes. There was one. You didn't really have many opportunities to throw the football deep down the field from what we were able to see. Louisiana Tech was going to make sure they weren't going to get beat deep. They had two high safeties, and they were dropping back, and they were making sure that LSU was not going to hit the big passing play on. They were making sure of it. You saw a lot of pass interference penalties on Louisiana Tech because they weren't going to give up the big play. Like, if you're going to score a touchdown, might as well just do a long drive, burn a lot of time off the clock because Louisiana Tech wants to go in and wants to go out. So that's what they wanted to do. And you got to give credit to Louisiana Tech and their game plan. I thought they had a great defensive game plan for Joe Sloan and the LSU offense. And was the LSU offense, was it a little bit vanilla? Yes. I mean, I would say so. But, hey, you're trying to save a lot of stuff for Florida and for the SEC schedule coming up. Guys, I know there's a lot of people watching, so we appreciate it. I'll say Derek Fonda. What's up, Derek? Hope you're doing well this morning. Karen Wimberly. I know she's tuning in. Jeff Mack, Ty Scott, John Jones. So appreciate y'all guys. I want y'all to be involved. So if y'all have any comments about the game, any questions about the game, make sure to tune in and chime in. I want to see what y'all thoughts were, and I'll be able to read any comments or questions that y'all have about the LSU game last night. Final score 23-7 over Louisiana Tech. I'll be here for another 20 minutes talking some LSU football from last night. But underwhelming, yes, but LSU able to get the victory 23-7. The one touchdown pass Garrett Nussmeier did throw last night. A lot of people say, if you go back, we won't talk a lot about this too, about Garrett Nussmeier and trying to tuck it and run and be able to run the football. Even on the touchdown throw he had to Nick Anderson, he had 7-8 yards of just green grass. If he just pulled it and ran, he probably could have scored a touchdown as well. But he did get a touchdown pass from Nick Anderson. It was great to see Nick, the Oklahoma transfer, come in and Tiger Stadium get his first touchdown as an LSU Tiger. That was really great to see for him. But just the pass game was just a little bit off in general. Barian Brown had himself a great. I'm going to talk about some of the positives. Barian Brown was great. I'm trying to find what his exact stat line was, but Brian Kelly said at the end of the game in his press conference that Barian Brown got the game ball. He had a nice kickoff return. I think he had like a 43-yard kickoff return. So you saw why he was so highly decorated as basically a return specialist. But he had 94 yards receiving. 42 yards of kickoff return yardage, 15 yards rushing. That was the third longest run of the game. 151 total yards there for Barian Brown. Xavier Thomas made a couple of plays, 113 yards. You got weapons. You got guys that can score and get the football in many different ways. Xavier Thomas was involved in the running game. He broke off a 48-yard run. You have Barian Brown getting involved. You have a lot of guys getting involved offensively. It was good to see Harlon Berry show off that speed and why he was a 5-star coming out of high school at St. Martin's, and he broke off a run, another 40-yard run. Besides those big running plays, LSU struggled to get anything going on the ground. I thought Nussmeier's connection. I think the one connection you can really count on with Nussmeier right now is him and Aaron Anderson. It seems like that connection there. They were able to convert on a couple of plays. Barian Brown made a couple of receptions as well. So there were some positives offensively. It wasn't just all negative. And I'm sure I'm going to go back and watch the game even more and get y'all a better understanding of it on Wednesday when we have our next Chase with Jace show. But overall, I mean, the offense was a lot left to be desired. Yes, was disappointed they couldn't really run the ball after a great performance by the offensive line. Yeah, I mean, this was kind of like the offensive line we saw in fall camp. So this is kind of what we expected. So the offensive line, I mean, they played their hearts out against Clemson. You got to give them credit for it, but yeah, they struggled. They struggled mightily against Louisiana Tech. But we talked a lot about the offense, and they're going to get better. I mean, I'm not ready to hit the panic button. This is week 2, and right now you're still trying to get a lot of that timing down. And I asked Brian Kelly about this in the press conference after. I asked him about the timing of the receivers and Garrett. Keep in mind, Barian Brown, he missed Barian. Well, Barian, what was it? A catchable pass? Yes. What was it? Could Garrett make it easier to throw? Easier throw? Yes. That was also the case too. But you got to make those plays. There weren't many times Louisiana Tech was going to give you the big play, but they did 2 times and it just unable to connect. But LSU's going to be better on offense. They're going to get it right. They have too many weapons on offense. Garrett's too good of a quarterback, so they're going to get it right. And I expect them to really have a bounce back game against Florida next week. And I'm sure on Wednesday we'll talk more about that Florida matchup. But this is basically just a generic recap of the game defensively. You love to see that carryover, that performance from Clemson carry over to Louisiana Tech. The defense was phenomenal, and they really bailed out the offense last night. We talked about that mantra, right? That Brian Kelly's trying to do 1-0. 1-0 every single week. That's what he's trying to do, and the defense definitely took that in consideration. They definitely want to go 1-0 each and every week. Wes Weeks had himself a great game. Wes was all over the field making tackles. I thought this was his best game as a Tiger. It was awesome to see Wes and Witt get involved on the sack. Mansour Delane was locked down. He had a lot of great PBUs in the football game. He was phenomenal. Patrick Payton, just a burst off the edge. He didn't get credit. I don't think he got credit with the sack, but he was in the backfield a whole lot. The pass rush, you gotta give credit to the big guys up front: Bernard Gooden, Jacoby and Guillory. They're a huge part of taking those double teams. Ahmad Bro, Donovan McKinley, only 58 yards rushing for Louisiana Tech's offense. So they got the job done, and it allowed your offense to have an off night. To only score 23 points when the point spread was about 36. It allowed your offense to not have their best outing. Now that's great. You have a championship defense, and the offense is capable. The ceiling is there for the offense, and I think the offense will be better. This will be a different offense that we'll see. I truly believe that when we get in week 6, midseason, week 6, week 7, I feel like this will be a different offense, and you'll see right now in week 1, week 2. I can live with the result, guys. I mean, I can live with this being an off game because I mean you lived with it, right? I mean, a lot of LSU fans know what this is like. Remember, with the Les Miles era, there's been games like this when they play a team that's an inferior opponent. There's been games like this where they win a game 30-0. They win a game 24-0, 24-3. Like, there's been games like that. I mean, it is what it is. You're going to be very vanilla. But what I can't live with is the injuries. And you certainly thought, okay, this is one of those games, Louisiana Tech. You get in, you get out, you have a dominant first half, you get in, you get out, you rush your starters, and you put in your backups. You put in your backups and see what the depth is going to be like. Get those young guys some reps. This is one of those games where, redshirt freshmen, you get 4 games, right? You get 4 games to play to keep your red shirt. This was going to be one of those games. And you certainly hope that Garrett Nussmeier, starting the first offense, is off the field early in the football game. You certainly wish that would have been the case. But no, they're playing deep in the fourth quarter because, hey, 3 minutes left in the game and you're only up what? You're only up 20-0. It's not really out of reach. So you got to keep your starters out there because the game's not out of reach yet. And your starters are still in there. What I can't live with is the injuries. Now, the first injury with Brandon Moore, you can't really do anything about that. You really can't because it's the first play of the game. It's going to happen. LSU was really blessed this offseason through fall camp with not really having any injuries. They were pretty blessed. With it, they didn't really have many injuries. They didn't have any injury issues against Clemson. They didn't, but that injury bug came to bite LSU because you had Trey Green blocking, which we know what Trey Green is. He's a Jimmy Graham. He's a Tony Gonzalez. He's a Antonio Gates. He's a basketball player. Throw it up in the red zone. There's not a lot of people in the country that can match up with a guy like Trey Green that's 6'7". He is what he is. He's a rebounder, right? He's a big wide receiver. You won't have to throw the football up to him. So it is what it is with that. So you're gonna have to use him as that. But he was on the edge in the running game, and yeah, he was in the running game, and he's trying to block a guy in the running game, and he gets rolled over. You just can't have that, and he gets rolled over, and right now he's on crutches. We're gonna wait to see what the result is moving forward for him and what the staff's report is on him. Brian Kelly said for Brandon Moore. For Brandon Moore and Trey Green, one's a knee, one's an ankle. We'll get an evaluation. They're going to get an MRI today, and then Brian Kelly will have media access, media availability tomorrow. So that's going to be asked about those injuries. So we'll find out moving forward about what those injuries really are, and we'll find out about how serious it's going to be. I don't think, from what the look of it was, I think Brandon Moore is going to be back. He was in a walking boot. But he was taking snaps on the sidelines, and I think this is more of a precautionary thing with Brandon Moore. I am worried about Trey Green. It did not look good looking at the replay. The type of brace he had on, being on crutches, it was not a good look. So that is going to be the one for Tiger fans. They're going to have to hold their breath a little bit with Trey Green. So we're going to find out about that. Guys, actually about to end the stream earlier, but if y'all have any questions, what's your overall thoughts? I'm going to wrap up the show with just my overall thoughts about the game. But if y'all have any questions or anything else that y'all want to talk about, I appreciate everybody that's tuning in this live stream as well. So also kind of testing some things too. So I think it's really good to talk about the LSU Tigers. There's a lot of high expectations for this football team. Brian Kelly was visibly upset as well. So that's something you don't want to have. I know this is not the standard that he wanted his team to play, but maybe it's not the worst thing for this LSU football team. You're coming off such a high. You're motivated. Everybody's kind of proving against you, doubting you against Clemson. Can you get the job done? It's easy to play hard and motivated when you're doubting. Look what Alabama did. I know it's ULM. I get it. But they've been hearing all week about how bad they are, how Florida State beat them really bad, and they want to get back this week and put it on ULM and show, right? So it is what it is. When you're dealing with – the hardest thing is dealing with success for a football team. LSU dealt with that. They heard all the noise about how great they were after beating Clemson. So how do they deal with that success? Now they're going to have to deal with everybody's still going to be talking good about them because of that Clemson win. But how are they going to deal with that success, and how is the offense going to improve? The defense is being talked about as one of the best in the entire country. Can they continue on that trajectory? Can the offense get right game? LSU had a touchdown off the board against Clemson. Offense, I think, had a good game. Wasn't a great game against Clemson. I thought they had a decent game. Could have been better. It was a disappointing game for sure offensively against Louisiana Tech, but they do have the ability to do it. And then when this LSU offense gets clicking and gets on schedule and the timing is right, I feel like this LSU team is going to be dangerous. I mean, when the top quarterbacks and Garrett Nussmeier in the country got a lot of playmakers across the board. So when they get everything right with this defense, as long as the defense keeps playing like they are, then this LSU team is dangerous. I know Brian Kelly has a lot of expectations for his team. I think that LSU can still have can have a great season. They're 2-0. They got a big game next week against Florida. Florida's coming off a loss against South Florida, and it's an upset at home. You know that they're going to be motivated to bounce back. Now, that's a dangerous team. That is it. Remember when LSU lost to Troy? They had to play Florida on the road, and they defeated Florida after losing to Troy. So this is a dangerous team. LSU better watch out if they're not careful. Now, I think LSU does recognize that. So that 1-0 mantra, right? You went 1-0. You beat Clemson. You went 1-0. You beat Louisiana Tech. Let's move on. Move on to the next one. You got Florida this week. Florida is going to want to play their hearts out because they're coming off a disappointing loss at home to South Florida. They want a get right game, a bounce back game. Even though LSU won this one, they're going to want to kind of a get right bounce back game because in their minds, even though they're 2-0 right now, in their minds, it was a loss. It didn't. I was in the locker room after the game. It was not a jubilous locker room. I can tell you that much after the game. So another week, we're going to see how LSU does. We're going to see how they respond. We'll see how they get better. And LSU's defense at championship level offense, kind of playing a little catch up right here. And the ceiling of this offense is really high. You just got to be able to get the job done. They won't have to run the football. We're not asking for Leonard Fournette's 2015 season, but you're going to have to get at least 3 or 4 yards of carry and be more consistent in the run game. You hit a couple big plays in the run game, but you got to be more consistent. There's been a lot of 1-yard runs, no gains, negative yard rushes. You need to get 3 to 4, on a consistent level, along with breaking a run like LSU did every now and then. So can they do that? We'll see that moving forward. But this LSU football team has a high ceiling with the defense. They just need to keep on doing what they need to do. They don't need to change anything. The defense is playing at a great level. They were outstanding last night. I mean, truly dominant. So we're going to find out what Brian Kelly says on Monday. Guys, thank y'all for watching. Really appreciate it. Thank you, everybody that's tuned in. Make sure to go to our website, gridironfootballusa.com. If you have any, anything, all football all the time. We got all kinds of shows. We got high school football shows. We got our Bowling in the Boot show every Friday night. We'll be live like we are right now every Friday night, 11. We had a great first show. We had a lot of great coaches coming on. So looks like I've fixed kind of the bugaboo with the live stream. So that's another reason I want to test this on this Sunday. So we're going to have a lot of great shows. Friday night, Ball in the Boot. Obviously, Sunday, we'll have our Chase with Jace LSU football recap. Wednesday, we'll have another Chase with Jace show. Tuesday, we'll have our Going Bowling show, which we'll talk about the Gridiron Football All-American Bowl game. And then we'll have our Player of the Week show on Thursday. So we're going for our high school, for our national audience. So we'll release our candidates tomorrow on Monday around noon. So and you'll be able to vote for who you think the Gridiron Football Player of the Week should be. All right, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in on this Sunday. And enjoy the rest of your football weekend. Looking forward to chatting with y'all guys on Wednesday. I'm Jace from Gridiron Football. Have yourself a good night, guys. I'm gonna say good night. It's been a long night for me. I went to bed like at 2:00 in the morning. But a good day. Let me say that. I know it's still in the morning. So have yourself a great day. And yeah, I'll be chatting up with y'all guys later. LSU, one more time, gets a 23-7 win over Louisiana Tech. And we'll move on to 2-0 in the season, and we'll look to hopefully move to 3-0 when they play the Florida Gators next week. Have yourself a great rest of your weekend. And this has been Jace Lejeune with Gridiron Football. Just finished watching The Chase with Jace.